Hey everybody, welcome to the latest edition of the Diamond Discussion. I am your host, Demetrius Woods, and listen guys, regionals is behind us, and it's time, guys, for Super Regionals. A trip to Oklahoma City is on the line for all the NCAA softball teams remaining in the tournament. So with that being said, let's get it started. All right, good people, welcome to another episode. I am so freaking pumped about this show, man. We got lots to get into. I'm gonna be as precise as I possibly can with these breakdowns. Regionals was just absolutely epic. There was so much to unpack. But first, before I dive into any of the regionals and the look ahead to super regionals this weekend, man, I want to give a shout out to just a wonderful young lady who reached out to me. She's been watching the show for a little over a year now. Her name's Camden, 11 years old, out of Glendale, Arizona. So that's why I'm rocking the Arizona Diamondbacks ball cap today. So Camden, thank you for your beautiful message. I promise you I will shout you out on the show. Just keep rocking, keep going through, and keep being dialed in on what you're doing, and your dreams are going to come true. So we'll have more on that hopefully in the months to come. Maybe a little short story there in depth about Camden from Glendale, Arizona. So anyway, thank you, Camden, for your lovely words, and that's for you. So anyway, speaking of Arizona, man, Arizona State is in the Super Regionals. We got so much to unpack, as I said, and honestly, I don't, I don't know where to start. Okay, let me just think of regionals right now. Okay, off the top of the dome, just all of the regionals had something to give us each and every single day, right? I mean, you've got teams that you felt like were supposed to, at least at the bare minimum, perform at expectation, but you had teams who overperformed. You had teams who severely underperformed. I would say one of the teams that underperformed would be Oregon, right? They had that Eugene regional out there, and I felt like there was a chance that they would be on upset alerts, and lo and behold, they were upset. And honestly, the regional final wasn't even it didn't even involve Oregon. You had Mississippi State versus St. Mary's, right? So I mean, anyway, just so much with that. Texas A&M, man, they go down. Okay, they go down, and I'm just looking around like, oh, okay, these teams are for real. These teams are for real. Can we talk about UCF? That freaking Florida regional, man. Florida State. You had Stetson. You had UCF and FAMU, right? That Florida regional, man. When those teams, I tell you, and I guarantee you, and I don't know this for a fact, so I can't say the word guarantee, but I feel like all of those fan bases traveled to Tallahassee, and the pressure was just too much, man, for the Seminoles, and they crumbled. And I thought we were gonna get, one of those epic super regionals matchups between Florida State and UCLA. The Knights, the UCF Knights said, "Hey, we're here. We're knocking on the door, and you better answer." So anyway, Florida State didn't answer, so UCF stormed the door down, man, and that was it in that Tallahassee regional, man. So anyway, guys, we got a lot going on here. Again, shout out to the Big 12 champions, not Texas Tech. All right, they're gonna have something to say about that, I'm sure, in supers en route to OKC. But the Big 12 champions, man, Arizona State, like they are not a team that you need to overlook. And though I feel like they could be overmatched against the Longhorns, it's a 3 game series. And if you can piece together the pitching staff and get the offense rolling at the right time, the Sun Devils could be making their way to Oklahoma City. And I don't think I've ever said that in my young life of, following college softball. So anyway, man, Arizona State, we'll see what they're able to do. But I've got some questions for you guys. All right, I got some questions for you guys to start the show off before I really jump into these super regionals picks. Okay, and that first question for you guys is which of these teams is hotter right now? All right, I give you Nebraska, UCLA, or Oklahoma State. Who's hotter right now? Who's your pick? I've got my pick. Okay, my pick is straight up Oklahoma State. Okay, Oklahoma State's run to Oklahoma City started a month and a half or two ago. All right, early to mid-season, they started to gain some traction, and they're pulling off these upsets, and then they became less of an upset and more of a, oh, okay, we expected them to win this next game, and then they win it, and then the wheels just keep rolling, right? And they didn't win the tournament, their conference tournament. However, they are a team right now that you cannot, it's undeniable that they are rolling. And so for them to potentially go into Nebraska and pull off a 2-game sweep, dare I say, it's possible, right? It is possible. That pitching staff is there, and if that offense clicks and they keep working the base hit, walk, double, home run, splash, whatever, they're there. They're there. All right. Next one. All right. The most complete team right now, I'm going to give you 3 juggernauts: Oklahoma, Texas, or UCLA. Who's the most complete team right now? I've got to go with Texas. And the reason I'm going with Texas, one, they are the defending national champions right now. And for some, that means absolutely nothing because it was a different team last year, right? But they are playing with the kind of swag that you want to see out of a defending national champ. And they've been tested this year, right? They weren't always number one all season long. And so, or excuse me, not number one, but actually they're just below Alabama. I apologize. But they weren't sitting right there where they are right now all year long. They've kind of had to jockey for position there, albeit they've been in the top 5, all season. But what they're doing right now offensively, that pitching staff led by Tegan Kavan, all of it put together, I got to go right now. Texas looks like the most complete team today. That's what I got for you. What are your thoughts on that? Number 3, which home team is facing the most pressure right now in super regionals? I give you Alabama, Tennessee, or Florida. And I'm just going to be point blank honest with you guys. Tennessee better not lose to Georgia because it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty in Rocky Top. Athens, Georgia is going to go buck wild, and it rightfully so. Okay. You've got Carlin Pickens senior season, and you're sitting there with an offense that is very, very powerful. Okay. But you got the Bulldogs of Athens rolling into town, and they, dare I say, look like one of the scariest teams in super regionals right now. So I say that to say, Tennessee, you better have your guard up, and I know they do. But Georgia's coming, and we're gonna see. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Georgia boy. I'm born and raised in Georgia. I don't even like the Bulldogs like that. I'll be honest with you guys, but they're coming. So be aware. All right, which of these matchups are most likely to see a game 3? All right, Alabama versus LSU, Arkansas versus Duke, or Nebraska versus Oklahoma State. On this one, you know, I don't want to shoot my picks too fast here. So I'm just gonna go Nebraska versus Oklahoma State, and here's why. I think that Nebraska, it's weird. It's a weird kind of backwards thought process here. I don't think that Nebraska wins Jordy's start. Oklahoma State has some of these ladies on Oklahoma State have seen Jordy even at her Oklahoma days when she was Boomer Sooner. So they are familiar with this team, although Nebraska did take care of them in the regular season twice. So Nebraska has the edge, but to be able to beat a good team, over and over and over again throughout the same season, it's really tough to do, especially if you guys are neck and neck. This is a matchup that I feel to be neck and neck. So I'm going to go Nebraska, Oklahoma State. It goes 3 games. Nebraska loses Jordy's start, and then the chips fall from there. All right. I'm coming in here, guys. All right. Biggest underdog. All right. This one was kind of tough. I give you Arizona State, LSU, or Georgia. Who of those three would you say they're the biggest underdog? Okay. The only reason I'm choosing the Big 12 champions in Arizona State as the biggest underdog in super regionals right now, and I did not say UCF because I don't believe that they are an underdog as much in their series as one would think. We'll get to that later. Texas is the problem. Okay. And so to me, anybody who would have been eligible to play Texas coming out of that regional, I think that they would have been an extreme underdog. That's how good I feel like Texas looks right now, and how problematic they're going to be for opposing offenses and defenses, truly. So I'm going Arizona State, less because of them, more because of who they're playing in the defending national champions at Texas. Thoughts on that? What you got? Next one, last one rather, before we break here real quick. Who has the deepest pitching staff? Now, mind you, these 3 teams that I'm about to share with you all have really great, really deep pitching staffs, and we're splitting hairs here. But I give you Texas Tech, Georgia, or Alabama. Okay? I'm going with Alabama. All right. And it's cut and simple. It's very, very simple for them. They don't score a lot of runs, right? They don't score in bunches like some of the other teams in super regionals do, which means that they have to rely on the depth of their pitching staff. They didn't give up a single run in the regionals, did Alabama. So they have to rely on their pitching staff, and they have relied on their pitching staff all season long. I don't really expect that to change too much here in Supers. We're going to see what they look like. Obviously, going up against a very hot offense right now in LSU. So again, Alabama, deepest pitching staff at the moment. Want to hear your guys' thoughts on that. But listen, I'm going to take one quick break. We're going to jump back in here, talk about these super regionals picks. Less debate about it. I'm going to give you my background on it. Like, we're going to talk. And I would love to just know what y'all's thoughts are in the comment section or wherever you may be watching the show. But I'll be right back, guys. All right, good people. Listen, man, let's jump into the first 2 super regionals conversations here. All right, we're going to talk about LSU and Alabama. We're going to talk about UCF and UCLA. Again, UCF spoiling the party for Florida State, man. It just bonkers in that regional. So shout out to UCF, man, for doing what they did. But let's start with the #1 team in the nation. I keep saying it repeatedly. They deserve their spot where they are. All right. But let's jump right into this pick. I'm not going to sugarcoat it right now. I'm going LSU. Okay. I'm going LSU, baby. LSU over Alabama. It goes 3 games. All right. I don't see a sweep happening on either side of the coin there. And here's the thing. Alabama's defense and their pitching staff is stout. So what I am banking on for LSU in one of the first 2 games is that their offense is hot. And right now, their offense looks like the more dangerous offense. I don't think that's not a secret for anybody. That's not even a debatable topic, right? Just as Alabama's pitching staff looks consistent, way more consistent they have been all year than LSU staff. LSU's offense is more dangerous and more potent when it gets hot, right? The question is, will they take the bats from Baton Rouge to Tuscaloosa. I'm saying they will. They score in bunches, man. LSU's been scoring in bunches for a while now here late. And in supers, right? You gotta be thinking about this, right? Explosive innings matter more right now. If you can put up a crooked number late in a late game scenario or even early to mid game, that can make all of the difference because you've got potential pitching changes that would take place. If you're having to get Alabama into their bullpen, now you're seeing more of their arms. You're seeing more of the arsenal unfold, and maybe Coach Murphy's are having to make decisions that he wouldn't have otherwise, right? Obviously, he's got a backup plan to the backup plan. However, if they're hitting the ball, then you're going to be in trouble. Okay. And because Alabama's, to me, their MO has been obviously pitching and defense, but what they do by relying on that pitching and defense is control the tempo. And so if they're not able to control the tempo and they kind of let some chaos unravel here, that favors LSU swagger per se pretty heavily. So in that sense, I'm telling you, man, if it gets emotional, if it gets momentum heavy, LSU can turn it on, and they can ride that wave as long as the emotions are going to stay high and go with it, right? So, I think the big question here for Alabama is can they withstand a run, and do they truly have enough offense to battle with what LSU can potentially bring to the table with their bats. So will it be Alabama's defense that wins out or LSU's offense? Okay, that's the question on the table here. And again, as a fan in a biased sense in all settings possible, I am going LSU Tigers will upset the number one team in the country. Alabama goes down at their hands in Tuscaloosa. See if we can book it. So there we go, baby. There we go. I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's go, baby. Go Tigers. Go Tigers. All right. Next one. Next one. UCLA hosting the UCF Knights of Orlando, Florida. Okay. Listen, UCF's run, man, it has been awesome. But as simple as I can get it, the buck stops here in LA. Okay, they don't go any further than LA unless somehow, which is very, very possible, UCLA gets off to a bad start, much like they did against California Baptist in the regional. I don't foresee them giving up, a 10 run inning, 11 run inning, or whatever it was again. However, the part that scares me for UCLA is Taylor Tinsley is their girl. And if she's not on, then it really throws a wrench in their rotation. So because of that, they're hedging their bets here, if you will, and they're putting their chips on the Taylor Tinsley table, if you will. Some alliteration for you there. If it ain't gonna work out with her, then who is your next best arm? That question remains unanswered, and we're gonna possibly see what that looks like because in a 3-game series, you got to know adjustments will be made from pitcher to pitcher, and offenses will finally figure out who you are and what you're about and what you're trying to accomplish. And what that means is that, man, the UCF, if they see Taylor Tinsley twice, all bets are off. All bets are off. So we'll see where that goes. But as I said before, man, like UCLA, they're really sound. They're a very, very put together team. The only reason I didn't choose them earlier in the show as the most complete team is because the University of Texas exists. And they're playing amazing softball right now, and they are the most complete team from top to bottom there in Austin, Texas. But UCLA is right there on their heels, and I think that the more well-balanced team in a super regional series will win in a 3-game setting. That's just the way it's gonna be. So, again, shout out to UCF, but regionals was about surviving the chaos, right? Like supers is about execution, and I think that UCLA is going to find a way to execute there in LA. I'm calling it a sweep over UCF, and We'll see if UCLA can make some noise in Oklahoma City this year and get their way back to the promised land. So anyway, with that being said, guys, we're going to take a very quick break. I'll jump back in here with you with the next 2 or 3, and we'll keep it rolling from there. Be right back. All right, guys, welcome back to the show here. I've got 2 more coming at you, Arkansas and Duke, out in Razorback country. And then we're going to chat real briefly here about Nebraska. The Cornhuskers, man, hosting a Lincoln, Nebraska super regional. I mean, shout out to those ladies. Oklahoma State's coming to town and they are ready. So we're going to see what that looks like. Let's start, man, with Arkansas and Duke. Listen, I feel like Duke is a well-disciplined team. They're well coached, and they are going to play the game the right way. I love that about Duke. I just believe that, and I will say, to this point, they have proven me wrong about their inability or ability, whichever way you look at it, to execute when it matters most. And if they can somehow find a way to get through Arkansas here, then I become, less of a denier, if you will. I'm not going to be a believer in them, not in OKC, but if they overcome this crowd and the energy that Arkansas brings, hey, all bets are off at that point, man, for the Blue Devils, because they will be able to say, yes, we came in to a hostile environment with a hostile fan base, not in a bad way, but just a fan base that is, they really love their team, and they're going to be dialed in for their team for 7 innings or however many it takes each and every single game. So will Duke truly be ready for that? My answer to you, no. I don't think Duke is going to be fully prepared for what's coming their way. To me, this feels like Arkansas finally cashing in on all of that talent, right? They've looked like an OKC bound team the last couple of years. Obviously Bree Ellis and company, like they were there, right? They were right there. So, with that being the case, like I think they're going to finally put it all together. And I'm excited for the Razorbacks to see what does this really look like when we're able to finally gel and really get things in a more of a cohesive space, right? So again, Arkansas, man, they're right there. I think they're going to win this super regional. And honestly, if I had to be blunt, Arkansas has a better roster. Period. Like Duke is good. I just mentioned they're well disciplined, they're well coached, but the roster in Arkansas, it it dwarfs what Duke has, right? There's no comparison. So for that reason, I pick Arkansas to take care of business. They take care of it in 2 games, and they send Duke packing on their way. So that's what that's going to look like. That's my pick on it. We'll see where that goes. Okay. Nebraska and Oklahoma State, the Cowgirls and the Cornhuskers. Where do you guys see this thing going? Because I got it going 3 games. I've got it going 3 games. I got Nebraska somehow falling and losing Jordy Fromm's start. I know that feels very hot take-ish, like kind of out of the blue. It's not. I'm just going with some of the higher profile games, the higher profile matchups, and the higher profile lineups, like one of Oklahoma State. Jordy Fromm ball was excellent against them. However, some of them have seen her before. And that makes a difference. Like familiarity matters. And so because of that, I don't know that she wins her start. I really don't. I think Nebraska somehow loses her start, but then somehow turns around and wins the series. So I got Nebraska, man, protecting home court, and then they are going to Oklahoma City from Lincoln, Nebraska. I cannot believe I'm saying that. I'm so pumped for them and that fan base and all the positive, potential that comes from, being able to really say, hey, we're here. We're not just here to excuse me, we're not just here to like, be here and like accept our little participation trophy. Like Nebraska's here to win this thing. They're to win it all. And so, because if I'm them, I kind of feel like we got shafted from a first number one seed. And they got the fourth of the one seeds. Like, why not number one, two, or three? Right? That's what I'm thinking. So Nebraska's here, man. They're getting a chance to host. And, they're having to battle though. They're having to battle against this year's Oklahoma State team, but also they're having to battle against the pedigree that comes with the Oklahoma State softball program. And so if you look at it right now, you've got a battle on Nebraska's side of momentum. And then for Oklahoma State, you've got a battle of pedigree, right? Which one outweighs the other? I'm gonna go momentum right now. Big Mo, right? Big Mo. We ride the Big Mo wave there, and the team with the momentum is the team that outlasts the other one. So I'm picking Nebraska in 3 games to eclipse the Oklahoma State Cowgirls and to send them on a very short trip back to well, not really that short, but on a trip back to Stillwater, Oklahoma, without a date to Oklahoma City. So anyway, guys, we'll be right back. Talk about the last 4 here in just a bit. Stay tuned. All right, guys. Again, welcome back to the show. I'm going to be quick with these two. I feel like my conviction on both of these picks have been pretty heavy, honestly, from the start of the regional play. And I'll just be cut right into it, man. I got Texas Tech taking down the Florida Gators, and it kind of pains me to say that a little bit. Oddly enough, I've kind of got this weird little affection for the Florida Gators softball program. I don't know what it is. I guess just because I went down there and got to see them play a little bit against my Tigers. I don't know what it is, but either way, I don't love to see Florida go down, before Oklahoma City begins, but I see it happening. I see the Bucks stopping at their house, unfortunately. And so, Texas Tech, man, they look fearless right now. Did you see them? 8 runs, guys. 8 runs with 2 outs scored to be able to push Ole Miss to the brink and then eventually push them over the cliff, right? I mean, they just absolutely ripped out the Ole Miss Rebel heart in that regional, and they couldn't come back from it. I mean, the regional final was a no contest. Ole Miss put up 2 runs. Texas Tech had double digits at that point, right? So listen, man, Tech looks really good. Obviously, Florida, they've got the big name, obviously, and they've got the coach. They've retooled their pitching staff. Obviously, looks amazing, and honestly, could be arguably one of the deepest of the pitching staffs in the country, alongside an Alabama, a Texas Tech, Georgia. So, it's very difficult to pick against Florida, especially this version of the team, because they really look well put together. But if Texas Tech, man, if they steal game one, I think it's lights out in Gainesville. So, and I think that is very, very possible. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. Texas Tech will take game one, and Texas Tech will take the series and move on to Oklahoma City. So Florida Gators will fall at the hands of the Red Raiders of Lubbock there. So that's that pick, man. Texas Tech eclipses Florida. The next one, cut and dry again. I got Oklahoma Sooners, Boomer Sooner, beating the Mississippi State Bulldogs by way of sweep. Okay, Oklahoma punishes mistakes like no other, and honestly, I see Mississippi State not rising to the occasion. They play loose softball, which I love that, right? They're free, which is amazing. But right now, Oklahoma looks gaudy, and until someone eliminates them, I've got to lean Oklahoma right now. The championship DNA is undeniable there, and honestly, what they bring to the table overall as a program is hard to say no to. And I'm not just saying yes to the jersey, because the players have to play the game, right? But the players that they have, they're really good in high leverage situations. And because of that, the Sooners are going to get this thing done, and they're going to wipe the floor, man, unfortunately, with the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Their run ends here. Last break here, and then we'll talk about another potential upset happening in Knoxville, and maybe one in Austin. We'll see, too. Be right back, guys. Last time, guys, talking about super regionals, because after this, it's on to OKC, baby. Last two super regionals talks with you. Let's start with that one out in Austin. Texas, man, they weren't really tested that much really in their regional, and I don't see that changing here at all in the supers. The Big 12 champions in Arizona State will go down at the hands of the defending champion Texas Longhorns. I'm calling a sweep, a 2-game sweep there. Tegan Kavan will be too much for them, and that's going to be the starter for game one, most likely, for the Longhorns. Here's the thing, man. Texas, they're the most complete team, right? I said that earlier. They can win low scoring ball games. They can win high scoring ball games. They can play small ball when they need to. They can hit the long ball. They have very, very sound defense. Like, they're going to make plays, and they're going to make plays that you don't expect them to make. And so because of all of that, like, Texas has too much. They don't have a true weakness right now in their game. And when you're playing a team that doesn't have any weaknesses rather, like they don't have any holes in their lineup at that. That's the crazy part, right? 1 through 9 can really, really hurt you. And so all of that put together, I got Arizona State's run ending right here in Austin. Their offense is so dangerous as Arizona State's, but I just feel like the Texas pitching staff is going to be able to stifle that enough to keep them tame. So Texas gets the nod there. They're heading back to Oklahoma City for a chance to defend their title. Let me know your thoughts on that one. Okay. Last one here. I said it earlier in the show, man. Tennessee better not lose to Georgia. If they do, they're going to hear about it from me and a lot of others probably. I don't know what we're going to say about it, but it's going to be something because I think right now, apples to apples, Tennessee is the better ball club on paper. But that is the only place I see Tennessee being a better team. And if you look at the way that Georgia has played all season, man, they've just been feisty. They've been gritty. They've battled. They've come from behind so many times. So they are battle tested. Not to say that Tennessee is not, but I believe that this is the one series where the pressure is genuinely on the home team. And because of that, and a litany of other things, including the depth of the pitching staff for Georgia, Georgia will upset the Tennessee Volunteers in 3 games in Knoxville. I'm calling it right now. I could be way off base by saying it. I apologize to my Volunteer fans out there, but the Bulldogs are going to get it done. At the end of the day, man, Georgia is the most dangerous, like, underdog, if you will, left in the tournament. There's no doubt about that. You got Georgia, you got LSU, you got Arizona State. They're all, legit underdogs, I would say. Mississippi State as well. And UCLA to a smaller degree. I think UCF can go out there and beat UCLA, but I don't see it happening. But I think Georgia's the biggest underdog here. But Georgia has enough firepower to make Tennessee uncomfortable. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do in this series. And that's exactly why I'm picking the Bulldogs to walk away from Knoxville with a W. And they will head out to Oklahoma City for another shot at a national championship. So those are my picks for Super Regionals. Let me know what you think about each and every one of those guys. We're going to wrap this show up, man, but real quick, my thought you should know moment. I mentioned earlier that the regionals is about handling chaos and, the supers you got to be able to execute. And my thought you should know moment for you guys out there as you begin to prepare for tournaments and travel ball seasons and all that this summer, like, think about it from that perspective. right? Like when you get into bracket play, it will become a game of execution. And if you can, whether you're not the best team or you are, you have got to be able to execute on your game plan. Otherwise, advantage opponent. So keep that in mind as you begin to prepare for your season. Go have a blast though. Go enjoy yourself out in the sun. Hopefully everybody's getting great weather for softball coming up over the next couple of months. And we get a chance to enjoy this beautiful game that has been made for us to play and partake in and to witness. So anyway, guys, with that being said, we're going to wrap up this show like we always do. Please let every single thing you do be done in love. Because at the end of the day, that is really what makes this world go round. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.